G'day, Ben from Melbourne here. And today I'm going to do a very late tag response to the Dots and Loops vinyl tag. And I have been thinking about this, and I've had 101 maybe records sitting around making a mess for ages now. So I'm going to bloody do it anyway. Of course, it's all going to be Australian stuff, and there may be cheating. So, the first is an album with Todd Rundgren involvement. Oh, Todd Rundgren. I thought it said Constant Mongrel. Yeah, it's going to be a bit like that. A title with fewer than 5 letters. Care by Melbourne Punks Clan. A record from high school you still own. Midnight Oil's EP, Species to Species. A record you were supposed to like, but don't. Sorry people, but Amel and the Sniffers just don't do it for me. They should, because they're on, well, this one's on Flightless. I saw them early on and they were good live. The first couple of EPs were good, but they're a bit of a one-trick pony, sorry. A record you were not supposed to like, but you do. You know, indie rock, all that stuff. Everyone's too cool for school, but there's no denying Midnight Oil's Earth and Sun and Moon is a cracker. 3 Degrees of Kevin Bacon album. Okay. This is weird even for me. So, you may or may not know, I played in a band called Push Button Auto. Send them out to anyone who's interested too. There's a lot under my bed. Anyway, we played a gig where Link Meaney, his band Bakelite Age, believe it or not, were the support band for us when we played at the Toffee in town. But if you know anything about the Meanies, of course, the Meanies supported Nirvana on their one and only tour over here. And then, when Dave Grohl's horrible band Foo Fighters came out here last year, I think it was, who supported them? The Meanies. And also on that night, when I played, which had Link Meaney's band support us, the guitarist from Art Brut, who just moved over here, was the other support. And then to come even more full circle, Art Brut, I believe, played on a festival bill with the Foo Fighters. So I'm 6 degrees of, I prefer to say, Nirvana's drummer instead of the frontman of Foo Fighters. Is that a stretch? I'm going with it. I should have read what I wrote. Dave Grohl's the Kevin Bacon of rock. The Meanies supported both Nirvana and Foo Fighters. Link Meaney's band Bakelite Age supported my band Push Button Auto, along with Chris Chinchilla, formerly of Art Brut, who played at the same Lowlands festival in Netherlands as the woeful Foo Fighters. Should have just read what I wrote. A soundtrack. First soundtrack. Ghost of the Civil Dead. Nick Cave, Mick Harvey, Blixabargo. A good $5 record everyone should own. You cannot get a decent record for $5 or under in this country. If you have one and it's not from 1875, good on you. A record that defines you 25 years ago was kind of two. The Fauves, Lazy Highways. Was a huge fan of this band. Had been seeing them since the early 90s. Sort of represents the end of the indie rock era. And Dirty Three's Ocean Songs, which came out the same year, represents sort of the post-rock, post-indie rock, more experimental, even mellower sounds, which my ears were opening up to. A record that rhymes with orange. No, the la-di-das don't rhyme with orange, but I'm gonna say that Kevin Borich rhymes with orange. Hard to find record from a popular artists or artist. What about these? Most common record in your collection. Everybody's got that, don't they? Two farthest records not in common in your collection. Well, I'm going to take it one step further and say two farthest records not in common from the same artist, because at the time you never would have thought the trajectory of Nick Cave would go this way. This, just look at that picture, it says it all. Art, noise, punk, aggression, mania. Through to his latest album with Warren Ellis. Mainly electronic, lush, mellow, kind of non-linear lyrics. There's a few upbeat ones on here, but you would never predict that Nick Cave would go in this direction if you were way back when the birthday party were kicking around. A record that makes you want to puke, musically and cover-wise. A record that is a horrible pressing. Celibate Rifles Sideroxylin, which is on the Spanish label Bang Records, which it's great, but they're mad for Australian music and re-release a lot of stuff. But this sounds terrible. They're a bit hit or miss. And I realised how exceptionally bad it was. It's when I found a beautiful original copy on Hot Records. A very nice sounding record. Well, to my ears, put some headphones on and listen to some Tame Impala. Best Inner Sleeve. Alright, are you ready? Alright, that didn't work as good as I thought, because I was more thinking of this. I'm still saying it's the best. That was the Giz, by the way. A cover you can't stand, but a record you love. Hypnosis's worst cover art in the history of the world. Besides the other one I can't think of right now. Both Australian ones, his Masters and Apprentices. Awesome record. A record that is too long but has some good songs. I'm going to say the Avalanches. Look at all those songs. Not only is it too long, it's like too long. It's a long record, and it's a real bastard to fold. Your workout record. This may come as a surprising one. Boatman's Call. It's those sad songs that get the blood pumping. Those Baby You Left Me songs bring me much more power. I own this record because someone said I should. The awesome record from last year by Split System Volume 1. Pretty much couldn't get out of the store without the great Richie Ramone saying I have to take this. Did not let me down. A record that sounds totally different than you thought it would. So this is a band called The Group from the 60s. Thought it would be real garagey rock stuff, but it's more in the pop end of things, 60s pop that is. Not a bad record, but just not what I expected. And holy hell, it's signed. An overrated record. Sorry kids, they just don't do it for me. Why have I got it? Nostalgia for family members who gave it to me. An underrated record. underrated artist, Roland S. Howard, one of the great records in Australian rock. One of the greatest guitarists in Australian rock too. A record you have no idea why you own because you have never listened to it. The second Baked Beans, or by this point they'll call themselves Beans. Why did I get it? Because it was on Flightless. And it was the last time I bought a record just because it was on Flightless. A record that makes you levitate. What sort of bullshit question is that? Alright, what about King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard? Live it. Levitation. A record that looks cool or makes you feel cool and is cool. The Chills. An instructional record. Go the Hack. A record that heals. Time wounds, all heals. A record with bad graphic design. So we'll take this kind of ordinary band photo and then we'll just stick some of this fashionable psychedelic shit with some kind of crappy font logo for the band, which we think is psychedelic. Crap. A record that changed over time. Well, this Hitman record, featuring the great Brad Shepard, who would go on to Hoodoo Gurus and was formerly in the Fun Things, and some former Radio Birdman are in this. This changed because I watered it and it grew. It got bigger. Amazing. Another stupid question. A record made me high. High voltage motherfuckers. Surprising dance record. 2 CDs from the 90s Pound System and I think late 90s, early 2000s Catalyst. Great Australian electronic music. A maddening record. Rose Tattoo. You can't get much madder than lead singer Angry Anderson. A scary record, unintentional or not. This band has 2. Satan. More Satan. Better not show that for too long or you'll all get possessed. A short record. I'm Stranded. I think it's about 34 minutes long and everything on it is perfect. Greatest punk record of all time. No arguments. A mixed race record. The Hard-Ons. If my memory serves me correct, Yugoslavian member, Sri Lankan and Korean. Most eclectic record, I'd have to say, would have to be the Gurge, Regurgitators record unit. And I could have picked any of theirs. Yeah, they're all over the shop. 1 minute you've got like hip hop style electronic hybrids, then they have a song that sounds exactly like Prince, then there's a punk song, then there's like a beautiful pop song or a ballad that's somehow cohesive. Are you sick of this yet? I am. A record with no guitar. Melbourne's New War. Drums, vocals, synth, analog keyboards, bass. You're gonna count bass as guitar? I'm taking that question as they mean like 6-string banging noisemakers. Your record with the most organ would have to be The Loved Ones. Your record with the best 80s rock ballad. Well, and it came out in the 90s. It's the Mighty Foes from Morning Peninsula. There couldn't be a more fitting song than I Wrote You a Power Ballad. Great record too, Future Spa. Best Blind Buy. I just saw that cover, said it was Australian, just appealed to me, bought it, knocked my socks off. Been pretty lucky over the years with blind buys, haven't really bought a shit one. A turtle record, as in slow jams. Jack Ladders, Hertzville. Beautiful stuff. A record you really want to like, but are not too sure. I bought this David Bridie record, Wake, on the strength of, where is it? The song Delegate, which I absolutely love. The rest of it, still not 100% sure. It's possibly just a little bit mainstream for me. The best guilty pleasure. Is it guilty if I'm showing you? They're a bit daggy, but I love them. Australian Crawl, Sirocco, fantastic record. Hidden funk. Well, the funk is so hidden, you can't even hear it. X Aspirations, but boy is the bass big. Jazz that no one knows that slays. No one knows this is a jazz record, and it slays. It is called Sketches of East Brunswick, and it is the Giz, so you know they can pull that shit off. Barry White saved my life. He didn't. The 90s. Awesome Melbourne band, Sam Pitt. This compiles their 2 fantastic EPs. A record and a concert and memorabilia. Alright. Well, this may not be Nick Cave's finest moment, but this was a fantastic tour, the Nocturama tour, because it featured Chris Bailey and Calexico lineup, and it's my nice little bit of memorabilia was a goddamn got backstage to goddamn meet the goddamn Bad Seeds. Oh my god. And Nick. Of course I was hopeless. I am crap in those situations. I just admired from afar. It was very much the shy wallflower. A record that flopped. Yep, that flopped. An independent record. The Giz are about as independent as you can get. A soul classic. Well, in my mind. Yes, believe it or not, I'm calling Kim Salmon and the Surrealist record You Gotta Let Me Do My Thing a soul classic. Horns, Hammond organ, Jim Dickinson producing. That sounds pretty soulful to me. It actually is. Yeah, I'm not talking Otis Redding, but the 50s. Well, the great Lobby Lloyd and the Coloured Balls album, Ball Power, turns 50 this year. Glam Me, Skyhawks. Pitbull, worldwide album. Banana Gun, very much loving the world beats and rhythms. Smoke on the Water, a played out record. Sorry, Yanks, just heard it one too many times. I'm sure in 10 years when I haven't heard it for ages, I'll love it all over again, but one too many times and I am a Bon Scott man. Chairman of the board. Lost British Invasion. So lost that they ended up over here in Australia. The Easy Beats. Get Kinky. Hoodoo Gurus. Kinky. Lady Rockers. The wonderful Jen Clower. A record, Risk. They changed direction. And the more I think about this, the less of a risk it is. But anyway, I'm going with it. Black Cab used to be a huge live band. very much in that sort of indie shoegazy krautrock thing going on. And then there were two, and they went full on electronic, but in sort of like a dark, new ordery, but better. Some people are gonna hate that comment. Next is Progressive Symphonic Pleasure. This is probably the most progressive Giz record, probably one gonna land in my book. Actually, that could have been like best inner, but anyway. Symphonic, why not? Electronic Dreams, none. The Beatles and why? I'm gonna say yes to the Beatles, and why? Because otherwise you wouldn't have the Hellmans' Blubber Soul. Rockabilly Meltdown. The Fireballs. Check out that. That's better. Oh yeah. A heavy record. Well, it's got to be Tumbleweed, because this is heavy, man. Greatest splatter vinyl. The Night Terrors. Check this out. So, already looking cool, and that's just the inner sleeve. You wait for this. Whoa. And whoa. I doubt anyone can beat that. Starting to think I should have just done about 20 questions. You Got Ripped Off record. Well, kind of, but not really. I've bought 3 copies of this, and all 3 have a big skip about midway through Tupelo, and it was like an RSD edition, so hopefully one day they will put out a normal one, because it's only on CD. I'm starting to wonder why I'm doing this, because we're already at fucking 30 minutes. Alright, we're going to flow through the rest. Speak and Spell, lots of talking parts. The Giz, Eyes Like the Sky. Bad production. Research Reactor Core. Sounds like it was recorded streaming on Zoom, because it was. How did they do that record? Amazing playing. Of course, the Giz. Free Jazz. Laughing Clowns. Classic record that doesn't get played enough. Radio Birdman, Living On It. Band that made only one good album. Sandpit. And it was because goddamn Stephanie Alexander left and joined Stupid Something for Kate. Tragic Story album. Well, I'd have to say poor old Spencer P. Jones' whole life was tragic. And something bad happened pretty much every album. I'm sorry album, your partner loves it, you do not. Pretty much everything my partner owns, I do not like. That's harsh but true. People are wrong. Tell us why the critics blew it. Well, critics didn't blow it or blow it. They just ignored it. Mike Noga, Open Fire. Beautiful record produced by Alan Sparhawk. The go-to of all go-to albums. Probably could have been The Saints, I'm Stranded, but this isn't far behind. The Beasts, The Low Road. I Don't Get It record. Well, I don't get it, so I don't get it. Get it? They ripped off another band. Well, I still think this is great fun. The new Alien Nose Job album. It's even got an SG Gibson on the front. Every single song, there's about 15 riffs. You're like, oh, that's that AC/DC song. Oh, that's that AC/DC song. Good fun though. A memory record. Eddy Current Suppression Ring. Primary Colours, because of the song Memory Lane. Condition is crap, who cares? Why would you want unlistenable pieces of shit no matter how much you like the band? That's the whole point, isn't it? To listen to it. Disco Delight. Avalanches. Maybe not disco, but it's definitely danceable. The Heaviest and the Hardest. What do you know? The Giz. Infest the Rat's Nest. Trying on some thrash metal riffs. I Blush album. Erotic City. Well, have the Hummingbird single blush. But I do kind of blush whenever I see this album, Hard On's Dick Cheese. Iconic and influential album. The Go-Betweens before Hollywood. Get Smart album. They did something else in life, like an invention. Dennis Tech of Radio Birdman. I think he's a pilot and he's also a doctor, or he's got a doctorate or something. Clever, interesting guy. Workman-like album, Steady Eddies. Well, I love every single one, but the Cosmics definitely pump out a certain brand of punk rock. I'm Clever, best lyrics. Of course, you got to go Mr. Cave. Just listen to the Mercy Seat and listen to how he's evolved over the years. Always brilliant. Harmonies. Well, this is a 70s compilation put together by Mikey Young, called Sad About These Times, which is all Australian singer-songwriters, and there's some beautiful harmonies on this. Tries Too Hard. Well, not this album, this is great. This is the Drones. I love the Drones, but the band that Gareth Lydiard and Fiona, his partner, went on to form, called Tropical Fuck Storm, it's just a pose to me. I've tried and tried because I love the Drones, but they sound like they're trying too hard to be cool or something. I can't work it out. Standout. Album not great, but one killer performance. Peter Bibby and his album Grand Champion, and not bad, but not amazing, but there is one great standout track called Work for Assholes. We can all relate to that, eh? Brave New Waves, a courageous album. Well, I would say sound-wise, the Cavesdale with Push the Sky completely reinvented the sound and style of lyrics, but I don't think you can get much braver than halfway through recording an album having your son die and then go back to complete it and then have to face the world again and tour. And that's again Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds with Skeleton Tree, and it is brilliant raw album. A Colour Me Gone finished contract and mailed it in. Well, I don't know about the contract, but they definitely mailed this sucker in. It's Scheisenhausen. Time to Die. Dead during or just after recording. Well, yes, because this is the Beasts, and they called themselves the Beasts instead of Beast Suburban because Spencer P. Jones died just before this, even though he contributes it on one song, and Brian Hooper, the bass player, also died, and then sadly since this, Tony Polar, the drummer, died. Beast no more, unfortunately. Sold My Soul to the Devil, the fastest flying die or sellout album in your collection. Can't do this one. You're all bangers to me. Last question. The last record you would sell in your collection is, well, it depends on what order I would sell them in, but the easiest way would be to go from A to Z. So I suppose the last record I would sell would be Z-Horse. Did you make it through that? That was a marathon. Holy shit. Catch ya next time. Sorry, I'll never do one this big ever again.